Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. This is lecture series 4 dealing with distributed and centralized database. These are the type of database which we saw in lecture series 2 and in lecture series 3 in depth we saw about relational and object oriented database. In this series of video you will be learning about distributed and centralized database. Now, what is distributed database? It is nothing but it is made up of two or more files which can be spread across different locations. So the database is not limited to one system. It can spread over different sites on multiple computers or over a network of computers. So a distributed database system is located on various sites that do not share physical component. It is what a distributed database means. It is divided into two types. One is homogeneous and heterogeneous database. Homogeneous database. So here all different sites store databases identically. We know that distributed database, there are different sites. The data in these different sites will be stored identically. It doesn't change. So what happens is when it is stored identically, the operating system, database management, the basic data structure doesn't change. It becomes identical. So obviously it will be easy for us to manage. But heterogeneous database, what happens is different sites can use different schema and software. So now when it is using different schema and software, the query that is processed, when I submit a query, the process of query that happens leads to some problem because the particular site might be completely unaware about the other sites. So when you handle with different data in different sites, you may not be able to track what is the right data. So what happens, they may keep on using different data structure, different data models. So obviously we move for translation method. We click on translation and we take the information out of it. Say for example, Amazon platform. It is not a platform that is designed only for the language English. You have different language across the world. So based on translation, you get to know different languages which is stored, which has data in different types. So next is about distributed data storage. So this is divided into two types, fragmentation and replication, where fragmentation is further divided into horizontal and vertical fragmentation. Now what is replication? Replication is nothing but the entire relationship is stored abundantly. That is stored redundantly in two or more sites. The same relationship in different sites is being stored. That is copying of data, maintaining the copied data at different sites. So obviously there is advantage in it. The availability of the data at different sites will be increased. But there is also some disadvantage. What happens is when the data is changed, it should be constantly updated or it should be constantly recorded in all the sites that there is a change or updation that is done. Now, what is fragmentation? Fragmentation is nothing but you are dividing the relationship into different small parts. Now, all these small parts will be stored in different sites. Wherever they are required, they will be stored. And there is advantages in fragmentation, that is nothing but it doesn't create any copy of data. So consistency will not be a problem. This fragmentation is further divided into horizontal and vertical fragmentation, where horizontal fragmentation is nothing but splitting by rows. That is, the relation will be fragmented into groups of tuples. But here in vertical fragmentation, the schema of relation will be divided into smaller schema. So there are some applications that is related to this distributed database. There are n number of applications available, like this is used in military control system, it is used in manufacturing control system, multimedia application. So there are different applications. Now there are different architectures available for distributed database system. that is nothing but client server, peer-to-peer, federated architecture. What is client to server architecture? So in this architecture, what happens is the client will be connecting to the central server. Client will have a hub, that is the central server, which keeps managing the distributed database system. Here, peer-to-peer architecture, each and every site in the distributed database system will be connected to all the other sites. So what happens is each and every site will be responsible for managing its own data. For federated architecture, each site will maintain its own independent database. So each site will have independent database. But what happens is the database will be integrated through some layer. That layer we will be learning in detail later. That layer will provide you some interface for accessing the and querying the data. So it may be used for various applications. So based on these architecture, there are some advantages that you can consider for distributed data system. That is nothing but it will have fast data processing because you are using several sites. Obviously, reliability and availability of the system will be high because every time copying of data, replication of data happens. And it will be easier to expand the system because already it is available in many sites, so easy to expand. And it also have sharing capability because it already shares the data with other sites. Alright, so these are some of the small advantages concerning distributed database system. Now, what is centralized database? So in this database, the data are stored in a centralized database system. So what happens is when it is stored in a central database, the user feels comfortable to access all the data. It may be in any location. It is easy for the user to access. So say for example, you have a centralized database, that is central library in a college or in a university, and sitting at one end you can see what are all the different books that has been arranged in the library or what are all the resources that is available in the library. So this is nothing but centralized, that is it is having a central hub, and the client will request the hub to send the data or manage the data. Now this centralized system will have some use cases like enterprise resource planning system. So these are all examples of centralized system. So enterprise, ERP, this is one of the most important thing that we are hearing in day-to-day life. ERP system. So what happens in ERP system is there will be a centralized ERP system which manages and integrates the business process, say about HR, finance or supply chain. But in one single system, all these will be managed. So what is the benefit out of this ERP system is nothing but data will be consistent. It is centralized. The control will be centralized. So obviously the managing the data will be simplified. What about customer relationship management system? This is nothing but, this is also a centralized CRM system where it stores and manages the customer data, interaction between the customer, sales process that is happening in different location. So when you have this system, what is the benefits? Yes, obviously customer data consistency will be improved. There will be a streamlined flow of customer service, like input, that is ordering of customer, packaging of customer, delivering the package to the customer, reporting what has happened, right? Email servers. This is also centralized email servers which is managing and storing the mail communication for any type of organization. So what would be the benefits of having email server is the backup will be simplified, security, easy managements of different user accounts. Finally, banking system. So when you are using centralized banking system, it can manage the customer accounts, transaction, financial servers through one server. Benefits is, yes, it is having centralized transaction processing. No need of one particular authority sitting in front of you to explain. It is all centrally already processed. Obviously, it will enhance the security also. Obviously, the financial records will be consistent. There will be no change. Manual errors will be avoided. So these are all these use cases that is available for centralized system. So having one hub, n number of nodes, where the hub changes the data, maintains the consistency of data, reliability of data, and all the data are stored in that particular hub, which is called as centralized database. Hope you have understood this concept. Please be stay tuned for more information. Thank you.